All right, let's really dig into this, because Jim Jordan's takedown of a Democratic immigration official over migrant parole wasn't just another loud congressional exchange. It was one of those moments where the tension that's been bubbling under the surface of the immigration debate absolutely boiled over, live on camera, with Jordan playing the role he's perfected: aggressive prosecutor, relentless interrogator, and mouthpiece of voter frustration. This wasn't subtle. This wasn't polite. And it definitely wasn't accidental. The setup, a hearing that was never going to be calm from the moment Jim Jordan sat down at that hearing. It was clear this wasn't going to be one of those sleepy, bureaucratic back and forths where everyone hides behind acronyms and prepared statements. Immigration has become the pressure point issue for Republicans, especially border state conservatives and MAGA-aligned lawmakers, and Jordan knows it. The official he was questioning, another senior Democrat-aligned immigration bureaucrat, walked in armed with the usual talking points. Migrant parole is legal. The administration is acting within its authority. This is about humanitarian concerns. The system is under strain, but we're managing it. Jordan wasn't interested in any of that. His goal wasn't to understand policy nuances. His goal was to put the administration on trial. Jordan's core accusation: "You built this chaos." At the heart of Jordan's takedown was one brutal claim: the migrant surge isn't accidental, and it isn't unavoidable. It's a direct result of policy choices. Jordan kept circling back to migrant parole, hammering the same idea from different angles. Parole was meant to be rare. It's now being used at massive scale. That scale changes everything. He framed parole not as a humanitarian safety valve, but as a workaround, a loophole being exploited to bypass Congress and effectively rewrite immigration enforcement without a vote. And this is where the exchange got ruthless. Jordan didn't ask open-ended questions. He asked trap questions. Questions designed so that any honest answer would make the official look bad. How many migrants have been paroled? Is parole supposed to be case by case? Is this what Congress intended? Every question pushed the official closer to an uncomfortable conclusion. Yes, this program has exploded far beyond its original scope. The numbers game, death by statistics, one of Jordan's favorite tactics, and he leaned into it hard here, is overwhelming his opponent with numbers: apprehensions, releases, parole grants, border encounters, monthly averages, year-over-year increases. He didn't just cite them casually. He weaponized them. Jordan framed each statistic as proof of incompetence or deception. Under this administration, crossings have skyrocketed. Parole numbers are in the hundreds of thousands. This was never meant to be used like this. And the officials' responses didn't help. Instead of disputing the figures head-on, they defaulted to vague explanations. The situation is complex. We're responding to unprecedented migration. Global instability plays a role. Jordan pounced on that. To him, complexity was an excuse. Context was deflection. And global instability sounded suspiciously like blame shifting. The moment Jordan smelled blood, there's always a point in these hearings where you can tell Jordan thinks has landed something big. And in this exchange, it came when the official admitted that parole decisions are being made at scale, not just on a truly individualized basis. That was the opening Jordan needed. He leaned in, voice sharpened, pacing his words like a prosecutor addressing a jury. If parole is supposed to be case by case, how can you justify doing this hundreds of thousands of times? That question wasn't really for the official. It was for the cameras. Jordan wanted viewers at home to hear that contradiction and think, yeah, that doesn't add up. One of the most interesting parts of this exchange were how Jordan framed the legal argument. Democrats tend to say, it's legal. Jordan responds, that's not the same as what the law was meant to do. Over and over, he separated legality from legitimacy. Yes, the statute allows parole. No, it was never meant to be mass admission. This is a smart rhetorical move because it puts the official in a defensive posture. If they argue legality, Jordan accuses him of abusing loopholes. If they argue humanitarian necessity, he accuses him of emotional manipulation. Either way, they are boxed in. The frustration angle. Americans are paying for this. Jordan didn't keep the discussion abstract. He constantly brought it back to consequences, especially ones that resonate with conservative voters. Overwhelmed border towns, strained schools and hospitals, taxpayer-funded housing and transportation, communities feeling ignored. He framed migrant parole not as compassion, but as an elite decision forced onto ordinary Americans without consent. And again, the official responses played right into his hands. Talking about federal coordination and resource allocation may sound reasonable inside a policy briefing, but on TV, it sounds cold and detached. Jordan's tone, by contrast, was pure outrage. Control the room. Classic Jordan tactics. This wasn't just about what Jordan said. It was how he said it. He interrupted. He repeated questions. He refused to move on until he got the answer he wanted on the record. When the official tried to explain, Jordan cut them off. When they tried to pivot, Jordan dragged them back. It's not polite. It's not collegial. But it's effective, especially in clips. Jordan understands modern politics is about moments, not minutes. He was farming sound bites. The underlying message, this isn't incompetence. Its ideology, perhaps the most damning part of Jordan's takedown, wasn't an explicit accusation, but an implied one. He suggested, without always saying it outright, that the administration wants this outcome. That mass parole isn't a failure of enforcement, but a philosophical choice. In Jordan's framing, border chaos isn't a bug. It's a feature. He implied that Democrats are using parole as a quiet way to reshape immigration without public buy-in. For Republican audiences, this hits hard. It reinforces a belief that the system is being manipulated from the inside. From a performance standpoint, the immigration official never fully regained footing after Jordan got rolling. They weren't incompetent. They weren't unprepared. But they were stuck defending a policy that is deeply unpopular with a large portion of the electorate, and doing so in bureaucratic language that doesn't translate well emotionally. Every answer sounded cautious. Every explanation sounded defensive. Jordan, meanwhile, sounded angry on behalf of the public. That contrast matters more than facts in these settings. This wasn't about persuasion. It was about positioning. Let's be clear. Jim Jordan didn't go into that hearing trying to persuade Democrats or change policy in the room. This was political theater with a purpose. He was reinforcing his credentials as a border hawk, giving conservative media explosive clips, signaling to voters that is fighting, painting Democrats. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think or what you want to see next.